A couple of years ago, I was lucky enough to revisit some classic Fortnite seasons through fan-made private server archives. Thanks to this, I was able to give a second chance to one of the best seasons that I previously never really got to experience, Season 8. The hope was to also re-experience the following Season 9 as well, but unfortunately I never got the chance as the private server project era was drone striked by Epic's legal team. My relationship with Season 9 is strange. I hopped in on launch day just like everyone else, then I saw the Slipstream network and for some reason that was the thing that made me go, nah, this isn't my Fortnite anymore, and I hopped back on Minecraft. I don't know bro, I was a dumb 14-year-old. I played that one water balloon LTM and somehow got the victory umbrella from that. I did not deserve that. Missed the live event because I somehow didn't even know it was happening that day, and then I came back for Season X. But now, over 2 years after I went back to Season 8, Epic themselves have finally given me the opportunity to return to my least played Chapter 1 season through Fortnite OG, an official mode. And since the mode is actually somewhat well done for once—
You did it, sir.
You know, somewhat. We're getting there. This seems like a better time than any to jump back in and finally experience Season 9, because the future is yours, and it lies in the past. But first, this video is sponsored by Aniba. If you're looking to level up your locker without overpaying, you should give Aniba a visit. This is an online marketplace where you can score awesome deals on video games, gift cards, and even DLC like V-Bucks. The best part is that the prices on Aniba can be way cheaper than buying directly, and they keep offers long after they've been taken out of the item shop. You missed that one cosmetic pack from years ago? You can get it here. The site is super easy to use with fast delivery, so you can jump right back into the action with your new stuff. So don't break the bank. Head to the description box down below instead to get started. Thank you to Aniba for sponsoring this video. Season 9 is all about the future, and following the unvaulting volcano event that I somehow managed to miss twice, we have only 3 new POIs spread across the map. After Seasons 7 and 8 both introduced new biomes, this doesn't seem like a lot, but I really think that Neo Tilted and Mega Mall shake up the map more than they first appear to, especially thanks to the Slipstream network that makes inner map rotations a breeze. Also, Pressure Plant is awesome. It's become my favorite drop spot this season and I won't accept any disagreements. Well, until that thing happens later on. That said, the other locations are strong too. Replacing Tilted Towers was always going to be a dangerous gambit, but Neo Tilted serves as a pretty solid replacement, and Mega Mall is serviceable. I don't really vibe with the mall itself very much. It's got a very messy layout that I just don't find that fun to fight in, but I really like the futurified houses on the eastern side. Season 9 shook up the Chapter 1 meta in a really interesting way by vaulting the pump shotgun for the first time ever and replacing it with the new combat shotgun. Everyone jokes about Prime Combat Shotgun and how powerful it is, but it really is true. The combat does rule this town, but it doesn't help that the only other option is the wet napkin shotgun here. I could give my enemies a flyby tugging and it would be more effective than the tactical shotgun in Season 9. However, something with actual tactics is the tactical assault rifle, which uses light ammo to provide some of the most deliciously precise shots. I truly love this thing to bits, and it's a crime that in every subsequent appearance it's been reworked again and again and again to be further away from what it originally was. That said, the most notable thing about the meta this season to me is actually just how big this loot pool is. Easily the largest of Chapter 1, perhaps even the biggest loot pool the game's ever seen. Not only stacking on stuff from the previous 8 seasons, but Season 9 introduces a lot of new items, and while it throws a lot at the wall, not all of it sticks. You've got some duds like the drum shotgun and, in my opinion, the new revolver, but some genuinely really underrated additions to the loot pool, from the storm flip, which can turn the tides of battle in a heartbeat, to the burst SMG, which is forever underrated as a close-range firepower. Lots of middling explosives like airstrikes and proximity grenade launchers that, on paper, sound really powerful, but actually aren't all that here. but I applaud the effort. Oh, and there's the Storm Scout Sniper, which was only in the game for about a single month. Yeah, by this point in Chapter 1, things were cycling in and out of the game really quickly. And that doesn't even include the 14 days of summer, where each day for 2 weeks there was a new unvaulted item. This season really was the season that kept on giving in the loot pool department. 14 days also had a ton of daily LTMs. I've covered these in great detail previously, so I won't waste your time here, but there are some real highlights in here like the gun game, horde rush, prop hunt, and my personal underrated favorite, loadout swap. Season 9 is pretty much the golden era of LTMs in Fortnite. You can tell that they were having so much fun coming up with these, from the ones that just modify the standard battle royale experience in quirky ways to the ones that literally overhaul the entire gameplay experience. However, I do have my regrets with 14 days. Because it was a limited time event, there were limited time cosmetics. I never got these sick cosmetic rewards. Like, look at the rubber ducky. This season also introduced the Chug Splash. This is a healing item so synonymous with like every season and mode at this point that it feels weird to go back and realize that it wasn't in over 90% of Chapter 1's run. But the Chug Splash is probably Season 9's greatest contribution to the game long term, and it's great. Crack open a cold one with the boys and celebrate the Chug Splash today. Trivia time! Have you seen this Fortnite gun before? You might just have, as the pepper sprayer in Save the World. But did you know that it was actually meant to be an item in Battle Royale first? Thanks to internal information, we know that they were working on a gun codenamed the Side Feed SMG. It was meant to be added in Season 9 alongside the Burst SMG, replacing the Suppressed SMG. But when the community revolted, the Suppressed was unvaulted, and the Side Feed was scrapped. It then joined Save the World in early Chapter 2 alongside a bunch of other guns that originate from Battle Royale, which is how we know that this gun was the Side Feed. But what happened to the Side Feed? Well, they kept updating it for a while in the first 3 seasons of Chapter 2, well before its very existence was revealed in the 2021 Dev Registry leak, but nothing has happened since. The machine pistol, which also got scrapped in Season 7 due to the community wanting the suppressed SMG back, eventually found its way into release in Chapter 3 Season 1, but the Side Feed remains lost to time. At least it's in Save the World. Season 9's first update introduced hotspots, where random POIs will glow gold on the map and have extra loot drones that you can shoot down for some good stuff. Hotspots are a super underrated late chapter addition. They're kind of overshadowed by all the crazy ass shit that was going on, but hotspots are really good. They can make some of the lesser traveled spots more viable early game drops. The second update introduced the Fortnite Jumpman collab with this really dope downtown drop LTM. It was the first ever creative based event, and I feel like this is somewhat of a transition era for the game, with the prevalence of creative growing beyond the block, and we'd get further LTMs throughout this season, like the aforementioned Prop Hunt and Beach Assault. What I always find interesting with this season is Epic's decision to bring the pump back into the loot pool in a small way in the middle, before the introduction of the high-tier tactical shotgun. I honestly feel like the high-tac fares a bit more of a chance against the combat, so it gives the pump a pretty weird place in this season's shotgun meta. Also, the drum shotgun is indeed here. This season also saw the second birthday event with cake and presents. Yay! However, I do have one tiny small gripe. No birthday cake back bling. Every other year has one. It just feels weird to not have one for the second year. But, you know, I don't want to be greedy. Battle Pass! Season 9's Battle Pass is okay. Rox is pretty great, but the rest of the outfits are just kinda whatever, and I've always thought the Vendetta was a pretty weak tier 100. I was always kinda sad that I didn't get this Victory Royale spinning emote, but they reskinned it with no sweat in Chapter 3, and that's kinda close enough for me. But of course, the most notable thing about this pass is the Fort Bite system. Every day, a new challenge would drop where you could unlock one of 100 Fort Bites, slowly building a collection, earning cosmetics, and uncovering this really cool mural. Fort Bites were a cool idea, but unfortunately, they were hell. Fort Bites were just very tedious, and the unlocks didn't really justify having to hop on every single day and knock out some menial challenge, and it wasn't much more fun if you just waited for the challenges to build up and tried to knock them all out at once. It's no surprise they've never come back. They weren't exactly a fan favorite feature. Also, Fort Bite number 82, the 3 pressure plates. Never forget. But while I've been yapping about Fort Bites and challenges, strange things are afoot on the island. Polar Peak collapsed! A mysterious creature out in the ocean, and propaganda posters are telling us to get somewhere high. All of this leads into the final showdown. This was a live event unlike anything they ever did before. An epic, choreographed fight with a giant mech against a giant monster, fully scored with an awesome soundtrack. Like, this is so cool. There's the fake out where we thought that we won, and then the 0 points revealed, and then there's a sword and Neo tilted, and oh my god, he's dead! This is where live events started to evolve from just things happening mid-match to a massive spectacle, and it really paved the way for some of the biggest live events we'd see in the years to follow. This is the blueprint. The final showdown is truly one of the greats, and it's not even the greatest showdown of this season, because the World Cup was also held during Season 9, and this probably remains the single greatest Fortnite competition to this date. The rivalry between Booger and King, the rise and fall of so many pros, and the overall level of skill on display here made for one of the most thrilling tournaments I've ever watched. And that's Season 9. Reflecting on this season through Fortnite OG, if there's one thing that I've taken away, besides that OG really doesn't do this any justice for reasons, but it's that they really didn't lean all that much into the futuristic theme beyond the new POIs. They could have introduced a full lineup of futuristic weapons and more advanced tech-based items, but many of Season 9's additions felt surprisingly disconnected from the season's core theme, compared to Seasons 7 and 8, where they integrated their new content much more closely with the respective themes. Sure, there were outliers, but most additions felt like they really belonged in that season. This is not necessarily a bad thing though. I actually think Season 9 follows the same content design philosophy as the earlier Chapter 1 seasons, where new additions weren't really tied directly to the seasonal theme, they were just focusing on creating fun and unique items. That approach gives Season 9 a distinct identity and makes it a surprisingly fun and underrated experience. I don't think Season 9 is going to be in anybody's top 5. In fact, in general consensus, it rates fairly lowly compared to the accolades given to Season 8. But to me, these are very much a pair of seasons. The contrasting themes, the similar content flows and visual identity, these are twins. You can't have one without the other, and I like Season 9 for what it is. I just think Season 8 did it slightly better. This is a very unique season, and you can tell the devs were kinda burning out on Chapter 1 at this point, but they still put their all into dropping unique items and ideas and events, and it made for one hell of a summer. So going back today, Season 9 is a certified 9 out of 10. And I'm sure I could go into some crazy discourse about how, oh, they ruined the sanctity of the pump tech meta, but I just don't care. Also, when they tried to do the whole futuristic thing again, it was fucking dog shit, so I'll take what I can get here.
So you can have a
Wow, this looks bad.
Yeah, right?